the phone.
Also have the
You
same
say that
issue
thing?
with
Yeah,
these
okay.
small
You
towns,
say
too.
it. You went to your text messages.
Next time I go under it,
Go fast.
I'll look for
Text
it.
messages a picture.
Yeah,
I'll look for it, so I know for the doctor.
if you know anybody down at DOT.
You get your phone, text messages.
All right, everybody ready here? Called to order the Wednesday, July 6th meeting of the Wethersfield Planning and Zoning Commission. Joe, would you call the roll, please?
Sure. Rich Roberts is
Here.
here.
Yeah.
Ryan Allard. Joe Hammer here. Jim Hughes. George Oikel.
Here.
Tom Deane.
Here.
Tony Homicki.
Here.
Dave Edwards.
Here.
Michael Vieira. David Drake.
Here.
Peter Lambruni.
Here.
Paul Thompson.
All right, thanks. All right, that's 8. I'll seat the 2 alternates who are here, and if anybody else shows up, I'll seat them as well. 2 of the items tonight involve public hearings. The way we're going to work those is that on each of them, the applicant can come forward, make their presentation, may have some questions from the commission. Following that, we'll open it up to members of the public who have comments or questions about the application. Following the opportunity for the public to speak, we'll have the applicant come back up and address any comments from the public, any additional issues that the commission may have. And if we believe we have enough information to make a decision on the application tonight, we'll close the public hearing and then act on it. If there are open issues or additional information that we need in order to properly evaluate the application, we will continue the hearing to our next meeting. Out of respect for the members of the public who are here, I take a motion to move the first item 3.1 down past past item 4.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, next item, 3.1, public hearing 210622Z, Doug and Ashley Elliot, seeking a special permit in accordance with Section 36A3, accessory buildings and structures of the Wethersfield zoning regulations to construct a detached garage over 18 feet in height and over 850 square feet in area at 30 Broad Street. And if the applicant's here, I'd invite you to come up. Please just give us your name and address for the record and let us know what you want to do.
Hi, everyone. Doug Elliot, 30 Broad Street, Wethersfield. So we are seeking to knock down our current garage, which is 19 by 18 and a half, and build a garage in place to essentially house our cars, but also the goal would be to eventually build kind of an upstairs bonus room for occupational therapy for our son. The reason we are seeking the variance approval is if you've driven by our house, we've got a very, very high regular part of our house, and our historic committee, it's not like our original plan with a lower roof line and wanted us to match the roof line, which extended us above to the 27 feet. The 850 square feet we were projecting, I believe it was 890. Originally, I thought we had a piece in the back that was going to be stairs with an open area to walk to the upstairs, so I didn't include that in the 850, so that's why I added so that brought us down like 820 feet. So including that 70 square feet, we were over the 850 square feet. So I sent in the architectural drawings and the plans and essentially the packet that we submitted to the Historic Commission, so would welcome any questions for that.
Okay. You went kind of quickly over it. The reason that the roof is higher is because the HDC required it?
To match they thought it was more appropriate to match our current house. Our current house is about 41 feet tall. Essentially, it's almost 3 floors with a 12 over 12 pitch, yeah.
Okay.
And they required it higher.
Yeah, we originally brought more of a barn style, and they wanted to match it, so.
Interesting. That's
Yeah.
unusual for them to do that.
To go higher, yeah. They said if we brought our current garage, they actually wouldn't have approved our current garage.
Oh.
So they said it didn't
Lucked
match.
out on that one. Joe, did you have your hand up?
I was just curious, what did you propose originally as the height?
Yeah, originally it was about 23 feet, but it was more of a gambrel style.
Okay.
And they said to match both our house and other properties, there's 3 or 4, kind of that 1.5 story with more of a straight roof line.
Okay, so you're all set with
Yeah,
them
they
at
have
this
approved it.
point?
We're happy where we went. We spoke with them, a lot of them outside.
Okay.
Joe, is he across the street from you, more or less?
Across and a little down as well, yeah,
Okay.
not directly across. But I guess one other question is the siding of the garage, it's going to be a type of composite?
Yeah, it's going to
board?
be a cement-based, it's not, currently we have vinyl. Currently we have 3 different colors of vinyl on our house and garage. This will be a cement-based hardy board.
Okay, so
So,
it comes you don't have to paint it or
Pre-painted,
anything?
no, that was one of the benefits, not have to paint it
Just
for
out of
20 years.
curiosity, do you have any plan in the future to eventually use that type of material on the main house?
We would love to. I won't put it in writing. We would love to get back
Yeah.
to some of the historic details of the house.
Okay.
Currently, we have vinyl, surprisingly.
Okay,
But yeah, we would love to get back to that, yeah.
thank you.
Anybody else on the commission have any questions? Yeah, I think this is just a question I ask everybody that has a garage that size. You're gonna have electricity. Are you planning to have plumbing there, or?
We're at least going to have water brought to it, so it'll be closer to our garden at this point. We might run it to have return water, but the pitch is going to be pretty aggressive. It would probably need a pump and stuff like that. But if anything, it would be water for a dog washing station for our dog on the inside to drain out, but yeah.
Okay. And the upstairs room you could use for things, but you have no intention of using that as a dwelling?
No, it'll be a bonus, it'll be a bonus room. Maybe if my in-laws come, they'll get a separate place to go sleep out, but it won't be an accessory apartment or anything like that.
Okay.
Although, you know, you can use it for that kind of thing.
Potentially, but I would just love to, yeah, it's really going to be an open room, a large family room for us, or, expandable size.
Have any of your neighbors commented to you personally?
We've talked to a bunch of them. Some are here tonight.
Other than the neighbor that is in our record here?
Yeah, the neighbor that's directly next to us, he was going to write an email as well, but he supported as well, and we haven't heard any direct in-person retractions, against it, for this meeting.
Okay. Tom?
Is the new garage forward?
No, it
Okay,
looked,
rendering makes
when I
it look
printed
like
it, it looked like that. I
forward.
don't know when Staples printed that, it shifted. It'll be, the facade will be the exact same, 135 feet
The
back.
site plan shows that.
Yeah, the
Just
site
double
plan,
checking.
when it printed, I don't know why I shifted it forward. Yeah, it'll be the exact same frontage. It'll be 8 feet closer to the property line on the left and 3 feet wider into our yard, but no closer to the road.
Yeah, it's pretty far back. Tom?
Just a comment about the siding. It's a type of siding that is frequently used or specified by architects in historical renovations, which makes it appropriate and widely used in historic renovations around the country. And I think that's one of the reasons probably why the Historic Commission was favorably disposed to the project.
All right, thanks. Peter?
Yeah, just a quick question. So you went with a 12-12 pitch because the house is 12-12 pitch, right?
Correct, yeah.
And that's what gave you the extra.
That's what,
What's the difference between what you had and where you ended up? height?
we were currently 14 and a half-ish feet, so it'll be about 13 feet
13 feet higher than?
higher than currently, yep.
What's the limit?
18 feet in height. Anything over 18 feet in height requires a special permit, which
Okay.
you have the authority to grant.
And you're at 25, right?
27.
27, okay.
And on the square footage, he's only, 40 feet over the 850 or something, or 20
I
feet?
believe it's 16 square
Okay.
feet.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
He's allowed by right 850 square feet, and he's proposing 896.
Okay.
So that's 46.
46, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Is that, okay,
No math required.
right.
It's more than 850.
That's
That's
right.
all we need to. All right. Anybody else up here have any questions? I would point out that we did receive an email in support from Marina Wisniewski, 24 Broad Street. And earlier, we received a letter in support from Judy Tatters at 23 Broad Street. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to comment on this application or has any questions? Sure, come on up, and please just give us your name and address for the record.
I am Bill Pilkington. I live at 15 Footpath Lane, and our backyard abuts against their side yard and the end of their yard, so we have a view of what they're going to be doing. And we have no objections to the new garage. What they've done to the property so far has been incredible, because their gardens and everything they're doing to me, they've restored that property to being a really great living place. And so we endorse it. And we also look and see Doug's barn, red barn down the street, because we get to see all of the backyards of Broad Street on that side. So we get to know what everybody's doing on that side. And to me, it fits right in with the history. Actually, where our house is, we were told that used to be a barn there when that was a farm. So to me, it's just in keeping with the history of the area. So my wife and I support it.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else in the public wish to comment on this? Anybody else? All right, if not, do we have any other questions for the applicant at this point? Do you have any, Denise, do you have any stipulations or conditions that we should consider?
I don't.
All right, if there's nothing else, someone want to make a motion to close the hearing?
So made, Mr. Chairman. George.
A second.
All right, motion by George, second by Peter to close the hearing. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Okay, thank you. Does somebody want to make a motion to start discussion?
A motion to accept the application for increased height and additional square footage.
Second.
All right, motion by Peter, second by George. Any discussion?
I think it's a great design. I think they put a lot of thought into this. I'll tell you, hardy board is tough material. I did it on my house, and just be careful. It's brittle. You're gonna waste a lot of material putting it up. You could go with wood, but, you know, it's a little bit more complicated, but something to think about. But it's a beautiful design.
All right, anybody else? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Congratulations and thank you. All right, next item, 3.2, public hearing 2110-22Z, Valvoline seeking a site plan modification in accordance with the Wethersfield zoning regulations at 752 Silas Deane Highway. And invite the applicant to come on up.
We're doing this the old way, huh?
I know.
Whoa.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for hearing us. My name is Alan Borghese. I'm a registered engineer. I'm chairman of Borghese Building and Engineering. And we engineered these drawings and we built this building, and I believe it's a very, very nice looking facility. With me is Mike Sowell. He is the gentleman that ran the project for me. And it's interesting on the way through. First of all, I want to tell you about the owners of Valvoline. They are local residents in Simsbury, Connecticut, and they're wonderful, wonderful people. They try to do a great job. I think the building turned out attractive. And during construction, we had some changes that we have made. Some of them we made purposely, and some of them we made due to circumstances in the field. And I want to review those with you. And the planner, I believe, requested that we come here, and I respect that because there were some changes here. I don't believe any of them are major, but we thought we'd explain them to you. And I'd like to have Michael, and is it okay if he stands in front of the drawing? Can you hear okay?
Well, as long as we can pick them up on the microphone, wherever is fine.
Does everybody have a copy of, okay.
Why don't you have to come, bring your drawing over here, I guess, Mike. I don't know how to do this.
Well, let's
Pick up everything.
let's try it. Okay. You want to read these down, or you want me to just go through these? So I think one of the, let's see here. So I've got half a dozen things here to go over. One of the first things are some of the DOT requirements at the driveway entrances. Based from the original set of plans that were proposed, the driveway entrances did downsize. Like I say, pretty much all per DOT for turning radiuses onto Silas, Deane, safety as far as DOT was concerned. So in that respect, DOT is the boss on that one, hate to say. Next on the list, we have our building location shifted 2.7 feet to the south of the lot. It's my opinion, the initial survey was slightly incorrect in the jogs of the building. So based on what we had in the field when we were there, this came about when we saw it, we got into the foundations, our pre-engineered building is on site. Luckily, we got the surveyor out there, and we were still within 6 inches of the setback. So, but it is a change that wasn't initially shown on the plan. So I've got some parking and landscape revisions. So there was one parking spot over here in the northeast corner of the lot that the owner requested we move next to the handicap parking. Result of doing that, there was an island right here that has been removed. I'll stick with the island and landscape for a minute. There was also a wedge of an island along the south side of the oil change. Now that the building had been shifted over and this driveway area was getting tighter, the owner asked if we could remove this portion as well. So in order to offset the green space, impervious, we made this island over here a little bit wider, added this island over here, and actually ended up gaining a little bit, 150, 200 square feet of pervious green space. In addition to that, we added landscaping, plantings. So, 23 of this and 8 of that and one of the other thing. Don't ask me how to say all those names, but some plants. So we increased the landscaping quantity on the site also. Let's see here. So there is some revised lighting. On the initial plan, we had 2 fixtures. This one's shown where it is, and the same thing in the back here. But these were slightly offset from the overhead doors. It just made more sense as far as symmetry and layout of the building to center the wall packs, the exterior lighting, over the overhead doors. This light is not currently installed, but we do intend to install it. On the existing car wash building here, there's 3 light fixtures at what is actually the exit, the street side of the building, that are kind of like gooseneck fixtures that come down. I have pictures of those here. That's it, someone might have to share. We can, okay. All right. Okay. You're going to one left. So on the first page there are the fixtures on the exit, which the owner has just requested that they stay in place, they sort of fit the building, they're not broken, let's not fix it. Now, on the back of the building, which is the entrance to the car wash area, there's 2 existing vacuums. He would like to leave those vacuums now. And on top, there's a little pedestal pole with 2 existing site lights there also. So the owner has just requested that we leave that, don't do any additional lighting, and essentially just leave as is. The site lights are installed per plan, or will be installed per plan if they're not already. Next on the list, we
Where are the
have...
vacuums supposed to be, before you said leave them?
So as far as the vacuums are concerned, we had proposed vacuums along the rear of the lot here. The owner's actually requested to not install those. He was concerned with traffic congestion, as some people may try to make their way over to the oil change, parking, employee parking, and also the vacuums being along that back bank slopes off pretty quickly there, safety, so he said, just remove them. Also, I think there was a decibel reading that was also required, so just remove it. It's not crucial to the business, just take it off altogether. He would like to leave 2 proposed vacuums in the back of the car wash for future. He's not even sure if they really even want to do them. He just wanted to leave them on short term if you allow it. But the existing vacuum stations, leave them as is. They may upgrade the back itself, but leave the concrete base and pole and everything.
Wait a minute, stop.
Yep.
You're gonna leave the 2 that are there now?
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
And you don't plan to take them out?
No, don't plan to take them off.
Don't.
You like them now? Well, there's not much left.
I word bluntly.
So let's see here. That covers the vacuums, that covers our lighting. And then really the last key thing here as far as improvements, the owner would like to add a wood guardrail. I believe I submitted a cut sheet on that, 4x8 timber guardrail along the rear edge of the pond and actually 3 sides of the front pond.
Wait a minute, that's a pond in the back?
Well, we say pond, they say water control, yes.
Looks
but
like a big pit.
It's a pit that holds water.
When you put water in it, it'll be a pond.
That's right. With enough water, it'll hold it. So whatever overflows from this pond goes to that pond, and then so on and so forth. Let's keep all the water on site.
Wait a minute, what's that from this one? Because
This one, and eventually if it gets up too high, we'll come around, pick up this catch basin, head to the back over here, to here.
So you're gonna have 2 water locations?
Yeah. Those were changed. Those are all per plan. Those are actually installed. So,
They are?
they are.
That thing back in the corner is? It's down about 30 feet.
Not, if you go 6 feet further, yeah, you're in the train tracks. But yes, you are, it does fall off right beyond there. So part of that is you really want to drive right into those ponds. So the owner said, let's please put in guardrails, if not only even just for a visual, and I mean, it'll stop the
I was gonna have you fill them, I was just down there. and
I'd love,
it
he
looked
would love to
dangerous.
have them filled. But we've got to keep the water on site. So, like I said, it'll be 3 sides of the front to protect, sidewalk, pedestrian, people exiting the auto bay, and also exiting the Valvoline. Or if you have a person as they're coming into the Valvoline side, you never know if there's confusion. It just keeps you from heading in that direction. And then the same idea was along the rear there too. And that's
What are the guardrails gonna be made of?
pressure treated, 4x8 timbers on an 8x8 with a mortise notch hole in the middle where they slide in, and 8 to 10 feet depending on how the layout works out in length.
8 to 10 feet.
In between each post.
But you won't see those pits at all. Or whatever it's.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry,
I mean,
that's what
it's
I
another little detail, I'll say that.
Let me just lend a few words here. One of the changes was inadvertent. We don't understand why the building came out closer to the property line. Fortunately, it's within the requirements of zoning. But as I said before, this owner is a great owner, really wonderful people. One of the concerns, I made a presentation on when we first made a presentation to this board here to put this building here. And one of the concerns was the vacuums along the eastern border. You probably recall that.
Yeah, it was me.
We presented that to him after the meeting, and he said, if that's a concern, let's not do it. Let's just, really fantastic people. And I don't know if you used the oil change yet, but I'll put a recommendation for 2% off.
No, the rest of the site looks nice. Yeah.
No, and I think the site came out better. There's more pervious, more plantings, and I think it's nice. And I understand why the planner decided it wasn't their responsibility to approve this or not, and it is this commission's. But I will say to you, I think generally this is a very nice facility. Boy, rest.
So why are you here tonight? Can I get a,
I mean, essentially, as they,
Blame me.
okay.
as they were going for a TCO, staff was doing inspections, and they're required to do an as-built of the build-out, and we identified these changes, so I wanted to bring that before you, just to identify that.
Yeah, and I'll take full responsibility for it. A couple of these things standing alone, I don't think we would have wanted to make them come here and talk about. But cumulatively, there were enough things that were changed from the original site plan that I felt, in fairness to the commission, we should have the opportunity to weigh in on it. Unfortunately, it's after the fact, but I think, you know, on the whole, they are improvements to the site, but they are, you know, back under our old regulations, we used to have people come in for a change that is not significant. And everybody would be like, why do I have to come in for a change that is not significant? You know, this is kind of on the borderline of significant, not significant, but I felt that given that it had come in through the special permit process rather than site plan, that we should, you know, basically sign off on it so that if, you know, if people had questions, it wasn't dropped in the lap of staff members.
It makes sense, that's fine. Could you just enumerate the changes again, now that I'm on board with what's going on here?
Yeah, so actually, we do have the original approved plan here also. So, I'll kind of flip back and forth. So initially, we had one parking spot here, which again, and actually there was a vacuum here also. As you come in, congestion, a weird parking spot, especially with a vacuum, would indicate, you know, public. So take this, move it over to the handicap parking, which is now shown over here, which results in this island being removed, this wedge of island here removed. That was mainly due to the building shifting over 2.5 and the side and the driveway being tight. Expanding over here, adding this island to make up
Offset.
for offset the pervious and impervious. Driveway cuts, as we were shown, to what the DOT is making us do.
I got you.
And then the lighting, initially, we had two, one on each corner, one on the end, as well as a handful on the existing. Light poles were either existing with new heads or new altogether, and that is going, they are gonna go in per plan. We added one more front and back over the overhead doors, stick with this one here, requesting that all existing on the car wash stay as is. And then the removal of the vacuums along the rear of the lot, and adding guardrail at the rear pond and 3 sides of the front pond.
All right, good, thank you. That's clear.
And it's hard to visualize it at first.
Yeah, I tried my best to color.
No, that's-
My 8-year-old helped me.
Along that line, what, I want to understand what DOT's doing. I'm trying to understand those guys.
Who?
But that's-
DOT.
Oh, yeah, well, if you can
George,
figure
can
it
you
out,
pull
let
your
me
mic
know.
down?
I hate to, I'm sorry, thank you. Yeah, I'm, as a former state employee, but not DOT, I try to understand those guys. Now, that you had wide driveways there,
Yes.
right?
Essentially, what you
And
see today.
they
is what we
ask you to cut them down, of course, that's standard, and I understand that.
Right.
But what else are they asking you up front there?
Primarily up front was just signage, as in car wash only, and car wash only, a sign on each side.
They get into
here, exit,
signage?
Stop signs.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. And then, really, the biggest thing was that, and I hate to
Okay.
neck down the driveway.
I thought that was our
And this
purview,
was
but they're into it? Oh, really? That's what I really wanted to ask. That part and the narrowing and stuff, I know they do that,
we reluctantly,
and they should.
we nudge back what we can, but then they put a turning radius and they say.
Oh,
push
yeah,
back
so
a
it
little
takes up
bit.
another,
And then they say,
Side,
well,
yep,
and then
yep,
it
okay.
can't be any wider, so in order to do that, you have to offset here, and you have to have an arrow so that you can position the vehicle, and it gets tricky. One of our other engineers works with them and back and forth,
it
and
goes smooth.
yes, so,
So just,
right.
Peter?
just to clarify, what you're calling ponds is really catchment areas, right?
That's right,
And they're existing,
yes.
so all you want to do is define the boundaries
That's
so,
all.
so no car drives into them,
That's
right? I got you.
So not all of these changes are done in the field yet. Basically, we stopped before winter. We bonded a bunch of stuff, which everybody was great in working with us and trying to get the store open. So just trying to get to the point of let's finish the odds and ends, the landscaping, the paving, and then I'll do it. We did actually an as-built, so I could make sure I show everything as accurately as we can, and then I'll do a follow-up as-built and go through the normal process just to wrap up the job.
Anybody, Tony?
What are your hours of operation?
Boy, I think it's a half a day Sunday, but Monday through Saturday, want to say it's 9 o'clock, I'd have to follow up, 9 o'clock to 6, I think is about when they're open. I'm not positive, and I have bands on that.
You have 2 bays for the oil changing area?
Yes, 2 bays for the oil change, and there's 3 self-serve and 1 full auto.
It looks like you have plenty of room. If it's very successful, you'll have probably 10, 12 cars in line there?
Yeah, that's probably about it.
You could be so lucky, right?
If they can keep it going.
The lighting in the back that's existing, is that sufficient? I mean, you have
I believe so. I believe so. I
Covers
mean, we
the
do
rear
have, like pole lighting that was existing with a replaced head. And both of these 2 lights back here are also on shorter pole. I don't want to say pole, it gives the impression they're 20 feet tall, but they're maybe 10 or 12 feet tall. And I do believe it illuminates the rear of this area, and certainly all of our new lighting. And also what, even on the photometric, doesn't reflect are the existing poles in the 2 rear corners over here. And so this driveway is, in my opinion, very well lit.
Thank you, good luck.
Anybody else to the left here?
One more here.
Well, let Tom go first.
I, for one, value the expertise and perspective of the staff, and before I would vote on this, I'd like to hear if staff have any perspectives to offer, any concerns about this, whether or not it violates the spirit of the earlier approval of the commission, anything of that sort.
I mean, aside from the building being, 2 feet closer, still meeting the setback, I think most of the changes are improvements to the site, the addition of the landscaping, et cetera. I don't have any concern.
Okay, I value staff's perspective. Thank you.
George?
Yeah, maybe Denise could chime in on this one. Any problems over the years, and I've looked at this for 50 years, and this site, and used it. The outside going out to the Silas Deane, there sometimes gets to be an issue with getting out there, but it doesn't seem to be a problem from what I can see when I've used it in recent years. You haven't had any problems with it, or need to, I don't know what you could do about it. There's not much you could do. That front is short to the Silas Deane.
It is. No one's expressed any, although, everybody would have loved to have left the driveways a little bit wider, but again, that's kind of out of our hands. But no one's expressed any issues with exiting or stacking up. I mean, the nice part about the auto bay is that it's not going to allow another vehicle to come in if you can't get that last vehicle out. So it's not as though a vehicle can be stuck inside there, and I'm in the auto wash tunnel type of thing.
And you don't discourage people from wiping down their cars out front, right? I've seen it happen once in a while.
I think they would like to.
Yeah.
But, you holler at them,
Where
want
they-
them to
where
come
you
back
gonna
to,
go?
and even when they just come for a free vacuum, and that's
Yeah.
that, but,
I don't know what you can do, really.
It's a little
I
bit
just
tough.
thought I'd ask.
We have tried to maintain, essentially one lane coming in, again, for the DOT, but then opening back up so that we can stack vehicles, so if there's a waiting line to give room so it doesn't come out into the street, and that was a
Right.
concern of the DOT's also. But at least in here, sort of designating auto wash bay to the outside, and then you can go, actually, this is a smaller auto wash bay, and then itself just wands here. So as you make your way around the corner, you can break off to either your self-serve, the smaller auto wash, not as extensive, or the new fancy one that they have there. So you can break up, you can actually stack quite a few vehicles in here. It's a little deceiving from the small entrance, but it seems to work. It's tight, but there hasn't been any major complaints.
Sort of.
Everybody would like
Best
more.
you can do.
Everybody would like more, but what can you do what you can do.
All right, anybody else before I open it up to the public? Is there anybody in the public that wishes to comment on this application? All right. Anything else for the applicant before we close the hearing? Guess not. Someone want to make a motion to close the
Make a
hearing?
motion to close the hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
All right, motion by George, second by Tom to close the hearing. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstention. All right, Someone want to make a motion to, on the application for discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the changes on this application as presented this evening, which involve, we don't have to enumerate all the changes, right?
Nope.
They're going to be part of record, right?
Yep.
So it's just enough to say we approve the changes. Okay, that's what the motion will be.
I'll second the motion. It's a great motion, Mr. Chairman.
He studied for that one.
Yeah, really.
Keep it simple.
He's going to get the job of making all the motions if he does too good a
That's right,
job.
that's right.
All right, motion by Peter, second by Tony. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed? Abstentions?
would like
Congratulations.
to make one more comment. Number one,
No, hearing's closed.
working in this town was wonderful. But number two, this is Michael's first public presentation. He was very nervous.
Very
coming
nervous.
here. All those in favor of the way he did this?
Good job.
That didn't help, by the way.
Well, at least he waited until you were done to embarrass you.
But if he asks for a raise, he won't get it.
Yeah, no,
We were
that's
impressed
off the
that you actually brought colored boards, you know, we don't get that
He
anymore.
paid me for a week and a half to get that done.
You gotta get the screens down and all that stuff. Obviously.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you. All right, next item, 4-1 CAA Clearance Easement.
All right, so, this is a referral from the town council. It's regarding a clearance easement agreement between, the town of Wethersfield and the Connecticut Airport Authority for a permanent right-of-way over, properties including Cove Park, and for the Hartford Brainerd approach. And this is basically for permanent, unobstructed passage easement of aircraft in the airspace in that area.
All right, and this is an 824 referral from the
It is, it
council?
will be going to council, I believe, August 1st.
Do we have any idea what happens if we don't give this? They probably have the right to do all these things anyway.
What did they do before?
I don't know.
What are they doing now?
Flying planes.
Yeah, so what's changed? What is this for versus before?
The council is referring it to us for a comment as they review the proposed draft agreement.
I guess I just have a question. I know, there have been complaints and so forth in terms of the flight paths that the planes use and going over some residential areas in Old Wethersfield and versus, I think, what their recommended paths are that aren't always followed. And I'm just curious whether this easement is consistent with whatever the recommended path is to try to stay away from those residential areas, or whether it's, into those areas in a way that people are complaining about.
I would agree with you.
So Joe, I mean, you're not that far from my house. I could literally see the numbers on the tails of many of the planes. They seem to be getting lower and lower and lower.
I agree. And
Don't understand why.
The ones that are particularly of concern to me is the small jets
Right,
that several
right,
times a day, because those
exactly.
you really notice.
You guys moved there, the airports was there a long
Well,
time
I
before you
think,
guys.
I think they have paths that avoid the residential areas that are essentially ignored by many pilots. It's interesting, I had a friend who was a pilot for one of the big insurance companies, both airplanes as well as helicopters, and we talked about this, and he explained to me that his company religiously followed the don't fly over the residential area rule, but not everybody does. So I guess my only view is if
What do they do, go down the river, or what do they do?
they go right over the Broad Street Green and
No,
Chester.
if they don't fly over,
I think they
residential, where
follow
do they go?
91. I think they
Oh,
come
91
in.
down.
Yeah, but so I guess my only thought is if this were basically encouraging and permitting the type of flight path that people are objecting to, and again that's contrary to what the airport is recommending, I wouldn't support it, but I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the description of the easement area, it's town-owned property between 91 and the river. So it wouldn't, by virtue of this easement, it wouldn't encourage people to fly over the houses because it only grants rights over the space between 91 and the river.
What is Cove Park on 533 Main Street? Isn't that?
I think 531 is the last house, so it's probably the part of that whole area that's on the other side of 91.
On the airport side?
On the east and north of the houses.
Not on the Hartford Avenue
No,
house?
no.
So.
Denise, question, number of questions. In the referral to the commission from the town council, do you know of whether or not the council indulged or commissioned any studies, any, sought any data with regards to the health, sound, general welfare, safety concerns that I've heard expressed by several townspeople in the past regarding the operation at Brainerd, and has that been looked at by the town council in any way?
So I'm not aware of specific studies that were taken into consideration as they drafted this easement agreement, but possibly Councilman Mazzarella might have some insight into that.
Yeah, if you want to, we're obviously not inclined to put you on the spot.
Do you know if it was a public?
Well, there isn't, but,
24. Anyways,
yeah.
Just for discussion.
this came about when the state wanted to do tree trimming on that parcel that's described, the 4-acre parcel. And they presented us with, they wanted right away to do the specifications about which trees got cut and so forth, and then to actually go in and do the tree work. And they presented a agreement that we were to sign. And the last item on the agreement was that we include this airspace. And we took it off. We said, no, we're not signing it because what does that have to do with tree trimming? So the way it was explained to us by the, I guess it's the DOT, I'm not sure who was actually the agency, Airport Authority. They said, well, if you don't sign the agreement, we're just going to take it by eminent domain anyways because we have to cut the trees. So nevertheless, we decided to just strike out that airspace requirement. Personally, I believe that it was just an oversight since day one. Anytime they have an airport, they take the airspace so that there's no restriction about flying in there. And I think just over the years or whatever, it just never got put into writing, and they felt this was a good opportunity to slide it in. I don't believe it has anything to do with like expanding the runway or expanding the access to the runway. It was just that one parcel of land. I believe it's the 4 acres that we were talking about. Regarding flying in over the river, it cannot be a requirement. They say that it's suggested, requested, but the airports are designed so basically in an emergency or bad weather, the best path into the airport is a straight-in approach, which brings you right over Broad Street and so forth. Even when you take the easterly route over the river, you still have to swing in towards the end of Main Street. They don't go past the channel and then cut over. So it doesn't, even if they use the suggested noise abatement area, you still end up flying over houses. So I don't know if there's anything else I can add.
Yes, sir. At least I have a question or a concern here. Is not this proposal or easement that's been presented to the town by the airport authority part and parcel of the dispute that the airport authority has achieved with the city of Hartford, with Hartford aiming to close that airport down? And if we accede to this, are we not
we've already-
abandoning our sister city in its struggle with the authority?
The town has already agreed to allow them to trim the trees. We, on the council, we all felt it was a safety issue, coupled with the fact that they were going to cut the trees anyways. They're going to take the property by eminent domain and using safety as the reason. There was a lot of public outcry that this tree trimming was an attempt to expand the runway and bring in more traffic and larger aircraft, and all the documentation and discussions that were provided to the council from the airport authority and the DEEP that was controlling the tree trimming. They all maintain it's for this existing plane, if you will, the approach. And so we felt that it was in the best interest of everybody to allow them to trim the trees. They're not clear cutting. They're just trimming the tree tops. It's a very limited area, the 4 acres. The larger parcel that's affected is conservatory land, land trust, I forget the exact name of it, and that's in their agreement for that property that they have to allow the airport to address the trees as they see fit. So we didn't think we were enabling the airport to expand or going against what Hartford's trying to do with the airport. Because the way it was presented to us, the trees have to be trimmed. It's a flight safety issue, and that takes precedent over anything else. So I hope that clarifies it a little bit. And again, this is all to the best of my recollection, so I may be off a little bit here and there, but that was the general gist of it.
I appreciate your comments, especially don't mean to put you on the spot on an impromptu basis.
So the aircraft are gonna be as low as treetops? I mean, why are they doing this? It doesn't make sense to me. It seems awfully low.
There's a plane, there's a glide slope. It's like a wedge. And as you, from the end of the runway, it expands outward and up and down, right? So it's, right now, there's protrusions into that zone, that approach zone. It's actually mapped out on the charts so that pilots can see where these obstacles are. And they have to come in at a steeper approach or shift to one side or the other to avoid the obstructions. So, the last time the trees were trimmed, I believe, was 30 years ago, which they actually made a mess of it. They clear cut. They went in there with looked like bulldozers and just ripped everything out, and that was part of the public outcry that nobody wanted to see that happen again. They had all environmental engineers in here explaining how it was going to be done, and it's not going to be done like it was last time. So
what is exactly they want us to do?
Basically, they want the town to,
No, us, our little group here.
under the plan of conservation and development and just general sound town planning, do we think it is appropriate for the town to grant this easement to the airport to allow them to cut the trees and to prevent us from building things that stick up into the flight path?
I'm guessing they really, are not really gonna care what we think, I'll be honest with you, but.
I think if we
guess-
give a negative recommendation, then a super majority vote is needed by the council to approve it as opposed to a 5-4 vote. Would it be a 6-3 or a 7-2?
6-3.
6-3, okay.
Again, that's council, that's not us, though. That's-
Correct.
I would hope we have a lot more data here and have somebody representing this that has a different level of authority. In my 47 years in the appraisal profession, I would think that any easement would have value exceeding $1. I like to know what the clear and precise purpose is, the long-term planning issues are. I would also suggest at least one, if not two, appraisals to be done for $1 to grant an easement anywhere. I mean, if my next door neighbor wanted 5 feet of my property, I'm not going to give it to him for $1. I don't understand any of this. I'm not sure it's before us. If we need to call a vote, I would recommend we call a vote as a negative comment because of the limited data that we have before us. With compliment to you, Tom, thank you for giving us what the history they have, but there's a lot of hands in this cookie jar, and I'm not sure why we're here. If it's constructive comment they want, those are my constructive comments, if that's all we're going for.
The guy who wrote this should have like a objective or reason for the first paragraph. Because we don't have anything now we have to have something, and I'm not sure. And when it's done, I don't think we're gonna have a say anyways. The state, we're not shutting the airport down. I can't believe this little group is shutting the airport down.
No, frankly, I
I'm just
don't.
not sure what this is for.
Yeah, I mean, it's because they've asked the town to grant an easement, and in order for the town to grant an easement, they have to come to us to get the 824 referral. And I guess if the alternatives are, we find out what the value of the easement is when they take it by eminent domain versus tabling this until a future date when we can get, rather than taking our one attendee and putting him on the grill to explain this, maybe we can have somebody from town
Brought
staff
back.
come to the next meeting to explain what this is and why.
If that's an option, and if no eminent domain is going to happen in whenever our next meeting is, it may not be till the first week of August.
Yeah, I
but
don't think you can do eminent domain that.
I don't think so, but I really feel like we don't have, and this is all on the state, not on the council, but I feel like I need more information to really make an intelligent decision.
And even if they took it by eminent domain, they, you still have to provide, reasonable and just compensation for the taking.
Yeah.
So, and that, there's no evidence that's been presented in terms of what that represents in terms of the town. So I concur with Tony's remarks.
Tom, did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that there is a wealth of information that was presented to the council. There's an extensive report from this environmental impact study, the Connecticut Aviation Authority, I believe it is, that gave a presentation here. It shows you this approach plane, it shows you where the tree projections are and so forth. And I'm sure that all could be provided to the planning and zoning. It's on the record at the council meetings that we had. So just food for thought if you wanted to wait until you had a chance to review that
It seems to me if
information.
someone thought this was important, someone from Brainerd Airfield would be here, or the state. I just don't understand why we have any input.
Exactly.
There's no way we're closing down this airport because we vote no. It's never gonna happen. Nothing.
I guess,
I don't even know what it's for. I just don't know what it's for. We don't have it now, but,
I guess,
I could vote yes. I'd vote yes for this. Because I know it doesn't mean anything.
The other point I just want to bring up, they've been working on this for, I believe, 5 years now.
Yeah,
And
5
when-
years now, the airport probably
When
closed. They don't
when
have
we
to worry.
signed
Yeah.
the waiver to the tree trimming, they were planning to do it this past winter,
Oh.
which never happened, so.
So I can definitely request additional information and representation for the referral for the next meeting. I know that town council isn't gonna meet anyways until August 1st, and we have a meeting on the 19th of July, so we can continue the discussion then.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I think that would probably be better than,
Yep.
you know, giving something a thumbs down based on lack of information. So, thanks, Tom. Does somebody want to make a motion that we continue this matter
I'll
to
make
the
that
next?
motion, Mr. Chairman.
Right.
Second.
All right. Motion by Tony, second by Joe to continue this to our next meeting. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thanks. Next thing, Hartford leasing space for cell tower.
So this is also a mandatory referral from the council. We got a request regarding a petition for a declaratory ruling that was filed with the Connecticut Siting Council for the replacement and relocation of a tower facility at 75 Wells Road. They're intending to remove the existing 101-foot tower and install a new 108.5-foot tower approximately 51 feet to the south of the existing tower. They will support both AT&T and mobile. There's also additional equipment associated and antennas that will be located on the ground near the base of the tower and in the adjacent Frontier building.
All right, so this isn't town property, it's that AT&T building on Wells Road as you're going up on the right, kind of behind the Vito's Shopping Center?
Yes.
Apparently, the couple of feet, Mr. Chairman, doesn't seem to be a big deal. I don't see much conflict between where the towers are. They're only a few feet apart, right? They gonna take down the old tower at all?
They're going to remove the existing tower
Oh, okay.
and replace it with a tower that's
So in the past, they've submitted some kind of application to us, but is that more where they're doing antennas on towers or on the ground equipment boxes and
So
stuff?
when they do ground equipment, that's when it will come before us. So this is actually really for the relocation and replacement of the tower. And when the equipment comes before the building department, that would trigger a review from you.
All right, so there's nothing we need to do on this, right?
It's just a mandatory referral from the town council. So they're also going to review this on August 1st.
All right,
So it's really just if there's any comments to provide to them.
yeah, it's not town property, so I don't know what
I have no
jurisdiction we
concern.
have over it, so.
Isn't it reasonable to state that this is more pro forma than substantive in terms of our deliberations?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have no issues or concerns with the proposal.
all right, so do you want us to just make a motion saying we have no issue with it?
That's fine.
All right, somebody want to do that?
Make a motion, we have no issue.
See, the motions are getting better as,
Put the words in.
right,
I'll second.
all right. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Okay, thanks. Next item, pre-application review, Ermin, Cecunjanin, 190 Beverly Road. Sorry about not saying your name correctly.
That's good enough, close enough. Hi, everybody, I'd just like to say hello to all the board members. And I've been trying for a while, like since actually last year, to open some business, and as, I don't know, as you guys know, like, I already have a small hair salon, actually run by my wife, you know. And she only does like by appointments, and she's the only one working there. And there is no other employees, you know. I also have 4 parking lot, you know, that face Silas Highway. So there is enough parking for that place, you know. So I tried before to open like a pizza place in my garage, but my garage is on Beverly Road, and I didn't believe it's possible, and I was denied. So I have 2 empty room in the first floor of my house next to the hair salon. So I decided I wanted to try to open pizza place there, but all I need is something small operation, like just a pizza oven, and just like, you know, nothing else, you know, just pizza and delivery only, you know. I would, you know, make a sign that says delivery only, so, and only family member will work there, you know, like me and my son will do delivery, so there won't be any other employees. And also, I will be getting raw food from Restaurant Depot, so there won't be any like big trucks or any delivery trucks or anything of that kind, you know, so there won't be any interference with the traffic, so any extra traffic. So I don't know how possible is that, but I'm here today to just get a little you ideas and you, I mean, thinking, you know, I'm now working in Massachusetts. Actually, I'm driving far away, you know. So I moved in Connecticut back in 2018, you know, like in May of 2018. And I still work in Greenfield, Massachusetts, so I try to open something on my own. I've been in the kitchen for 29 years, almost 30 years. So just want to know, like, is something like that possible or not? There is 2 empty rooms and like a big, another small room, like a closet, but it's very big, you know. So I was trying to use one room for like, pizza oven on the front, and then have one room for preparation, and that smaller room I will use for the fridge. And so that's what I'm here for.
So in other words, are you opening a pizza operation on Beverly Road?
I was trying, but I was denied on Beverly Road. So now I'm trying on Silas Highway.
And yet you're operating on the side road, right? On Beverly Road.
Yeah, my house in the
Parking cars.
corner of Beverly Road and Silas Highway, so there won't be, I have a 2-car garage and additional 4 parking lots for my family. So there is, nobody's using Celestine, that side to park, you know, like hair salon parkings are just for customers, but I have 6 parking lots for the family members and, you know, for others.
In front, yeah.
In the facing Beverly Road, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm more concerned with the business which is on the Beverly Road, isn't it? Whatever you're doing, were there gonna be people coming there to
No.
pick up pizza or what?
No. I'm going to be delivering pizza, so there won't be, nobody will come to pick up pizza or I will have a sign indicating that it's only delivery only.
Delivery only?
Yes, sir.
And there will be, what kind of delivery people? Will they be out on Beverly Road parking and waiting for pizza to be given to them, or they?
No, delivered to their houses. No, nobody will be able to park there, you know. It's not just a pickup. It's going to be delivery only, like just bringing pizza to their houses, you know.
They're going to be delivering pizza to your house?
Yeah. I'm going to be delivering pizza to whoever orders pizza, you know. There won't be any, like, anybody stopping by to pick up the pizza. So there won't be any pickups or,
They won't be.
no pickups or no eating, only delivery. Sure.
The,
I don't know.
the delivery of pizzas are only gonna be done by you and your son?
Yes, sir, only family
You're not
member.
gonna use like Uber or any of those other services?
No, Uber, no, not, just only family. I have a son and I have 3 daughters, but the other 2 are over 18.
You'll be using your own vehicles coming
Yes,
out?
yes, sir.
Coming out of Beverly Road?
Yes, sir.
I don't think that there needs to be more congestion at that point on Beverly Road because we have a barber across the street who has, some activity there. And, that could make that end of Beverly Road rather congested. I get a little concerned with it, sir. Because I use that road. I live up at Clearfield, and I use that road to get down to the Silas Deane frequently. It's my connector. So I'm not sure I want to add a business in there of any sort that
Well,
there are a lot of people in there, or any people in there.
no, I understand. Some people even park on the street.
Gotta explain.
That never happens to me because I have a 6 parking lot, 2-car garage and then another 4 parking lots. So there won't be any interference. It will just so since nobody's parking, yeah, I know that, but the place has been, people have been parking on the streets and from that, but none of that kind. No, I mean, I have enough parking for my family, so it's just going to be like delivery, people, so there won't be any extra congestion there, I mean, I have my plenty of parking, I know, but you guys are in charge, so.
I guess I have a question maybe for Denise. The hair salon, is that permitted or pre-existing or what?
The hair salon had previously come to planning and zoning several times and gotten special permit approval, and then over time, they just dropped the time frame. So there were several times where it came back before this commission, and then the last time it just ran with the land.
Is that a special permit as a home occupation?
Yes. Yep.
And is there a limit to 1 chair and 1
Hours
per?
of operation, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So essentially, I had asked him to come before you as a pre-application review instead of a full special permit because the submission requirements, he would be required to invest in a survey of the property. We don't have a survey on file. The property is unique in that there is a driveway on Beverly Road for the residents. There's also access off of the Silas Deane Highway for the business. There are 4 parking spaces in that lot, but there's a shared parking driveway with the neighbor to the south. And there's no buffer or anything in between. It's just one big paved area. Additionally, in terms of home occupations, being that there's already 1 home occupation in the property, this is a unique situation that I've not seen before. And, I think the way that the 2 occupations will function together is something that would really need to be ironed out. So he's coming before you just to have a general conversation about whether or not this is something he should make an investment in pursuing.
Do the regulations define what categories of things can be treated as a home occupation? I mean, I've seen it with, hairdressers or some light office or something, but have we ever applied it to it's not really a restaurant, but a food preparation and sales use? Just curious.
I cannot think of one since I've been here.
This is kind of unique, but let's say he lived 1 house west, up the hill. We wouldn't even be considering this, right?
I mean, I would.
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
It would come before you anyways, and the issue is really, it's gonna require a special permit, and a special permit requires a survey. And The
I mean, do we have any other business in town where people cook out of the kitchen and go deliver stuff? I mean, someone moved in next to me and they started cooking and delivering.
I mean,
food.
there's
I'm not
probably
sure.
situations where
But I know
people
it's
do
not
like,
special.
small baking operations in their home, but nothing where there's, a full food service. So, there's a few things that would trigger it to be a special permit before you. I think it's gonna kick it over the 25% of the floor area that it can be a home occupation. It would also involve equipment that's not typical of a residential household. Obviously, there's the question about how the food is gonna be delivered. And
Is that 25% limit something that can be waived, or is that a
through
strict?
special permit.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then you really, because it's a special permit, you have to take into consideration the special permit criteria and, whether or not 2 home occupations in one single-family dwelling is within the nature of that residential neighborhood.
Okay. Tom and then Peter.
Number of questions and then comments to the pre-applicant. Sir, my understanding is that what you're proposing is essentially a 1 or 2 man operation that's conducted by you and members of your own household that are already living at that address. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct, yeah.
And all of the traffic the vehicles that are going to be used in the conduct of this proposed business, those vehicles already exist on your property currently?
Yes, sir.
There'll be no additional vehicles utilized?
No.
From my perspective, there's two aspects to that. One is the actual number of vehicles. The other is the trips per day. And what you're proposing is that the number of trips per day in and out of your lot would seem to me to increase markedly. Have you performed any studies or made any estimates about how much of an increase that would be on a daily basis, and what your hours of operation would be, things of that sort? And finally, this proposed business operating out of this facility, you're going to have very highly increased regulations regarding fire safety, life code safety, building code compliance that you're going to have to meet. Those are going to be quite expensive, because you're going to face whether or not for zoning you would have any special property renovation issues. You're going to definitely face huge costs for installing essentially commercial kitchen equipment that's going to alter the applicability of particular fire safety code, life safety code, building code provisions that are going to apply to this facility that do not currently apply to it. So, those are some things you're going to have to look at pretty carefully.
That's true.
Denise, does the household business fall under commercial kitchens? From the standpoint, will the health and safety look at this for janitorial and restrooms? And
The health department will look at this, yes.
Yeah, you're
They-
going
they
to have
already
health
have-
department,
they already
Clause
have
to home business.
fire marshal.
They've been reviewing this.
Rich,
Peter.
just 2 other quick questions.
Yes, sir.
Will you have delivery trucks bringing you things during the day? How do you receive your material for cooking?
No, I'll go every morning before I open the place, or every other, depends how much. I go directly to Restaurant Depot, and pick up raw food and bring it to the place, so there won't be any delivery truck, small operation. You know.
So, okay, so that's a trip from you, right?
Yes,
Okay, to get the materials.
yes, sir.
Is there going to be any conflict with your wife's operation? People going in and out to get their hair done, and you're trying to drive in and out to deliver? Is that going to be a problem? Have you
No,
thought
sir,
about that?
no, sir. You know, there is a, you know, to the left side of my house, there is a stairs, walkway, like around my, so I won't park any cars there, the cars will still be parked on the Beverly Road, so that place, yes, because, depends how much delivery we're gonna have, so yeah, there will be little, not traffic, but, we're gonna be using our own car, but still, somebody's gonna probably have to make more trips than usual, for delivery, so, yes, that will be questionable, so, I don't know, I'm here to hear your opinion too, so, I don't know,
I think what you're hearing from us, maybe I'll just say this, is that the concern is you got two different operations going on at the same time. You're going to have in and out on both operations. You got hours of operations you have to consider. You have equipment and costs associated with running a restaurant type of an operation, consistent in one area of your house, and then you have a salon that has its own type of equipment, and so these are things that we would all be considering, that there's safety, that there's not going to be any problems with people going in and out, and that the neighborhood is not, going to see some problems because of this operation. That's what we'd be concerned about. So I think you have to address all those. And it's very hard. I'm only speaking for myself. It's very hard for me to visualize. I mean, I know where your house is, and I understand.
Exactly.
I've seen it, but it's kind of hard for me to visualize without a thoughtful plan from you how all that's going to work. I mean, it's got to be well laid out, and it's got to make sense.
Yeah, I mean, and I think just to kind of follow up on comments that others have made, I mean, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week of 4 trips in and out, 4 trips in, 4 trips out, every hour to deliver pizzas, and I frankly, I don't doubt your honesty, but when we give approvals like this, it's for the property, it's not for you. I mean, you may have these, you may be completely straightforward, you may live within the letter of the law, but, at some point, if you get tired of doing this and sell the house to someone else, they will have the same rights to do it that you do, and I can't imagine under any circumstance that if somebody has been waiting a half hour for their pizza that you have sitting on the counter in your house, and they come over to pick it up, that you'll say, no, go back to your house, I'll bring it to you in 45 minutes, as opposed to, doing the transaction right then and there, not you, maybe somebody else. But it just seems like it's pretty intense, and also, the trips are the key thing, even if there are no additional vehicles from what's there now. And I also, fear that, monitoring and policing to make sure that everything is exactly as you have identified is not something that the town is going to be in a position to do by, having a zoning enforcement officer there at 9 p.m. on Saturday to make sure that nobody's picking up a pizza. It's the kind of thing that we're only going to hear about when the neighbors complain. And, it strikes me as, kind of while I encourage the initiative, it seems like putting too much into one particular location at one time when there are, significant opportunities for, overlap or conflict and so forth. I mean, how many cars go up and down the Silas Deane a day? 25,000, and a fair number of them go up Beverly Road, and, adding another 80 trips a day to deliver pizza just probably isn't something that is customary for the neighborhood. Anybody else? Tony?
You have a 3-bedroom house or a 4-bedroom?
I mean, there is 2 bedrooms upstairs, and these other 2 I'm using sometime too, so in the first floor. So if you consider those, if 4 bedroom, but if you just upstairs, 2 bedroom.
I asked because, as the chairman said and as Peter said, it's not just a 2-unit proposal, it's a 3rd residential use on top of that. So if it did follow the land, if somebody went in there with 2 or 3 other adults, 3 or 4 other cars, in addition to having this use, as well as something that's more low profile, as a beauty parlor would be, or a haircut barbershop, it is a different use with the intensity of the Silas Deane Highway for that. Those are my primary observations. Also, your hours would extend into the dark hours and evenings. Getting in and out of the Silas Deane Highway would probably need some extensive lighting concerns. Could you tell me who Acorn Design LLC is? Are they a design architect interior home only, or do they have an engineering background? Acorn Design?
Yes, sir.
Who are they?
Acorn. Well, their company has, it's a company that, does the construction, I met him like a few years ago, and.
Okay, were they designing the kitchen that you're proposing? Because you did.
Well, yeah, he does all those designs and construction. I mean, he does everything. So, it's a LLC,
And the sales of your pizza would be an online type service? How would you be marketing these?
Probably have it also online and business cards so people can call directly and order pizza,
I think intensifying the site would be difficult for me to approve. That's my comments.
Anybody else? All right. Do you have any other questions for us at this point?
No, sir, everything, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, everything there will be, even though there won't be any employees working there, just my own family delivering pizza, there will be extra traffic there and extra congestion, so whatever your decision is, I'm good with that, I'm here to hear your opinions,
Well, since it's a pre-application, all we can tell you is what our opinion is, and you can kind of mull it over, talk to Denise, get some guidance as far as, if you decide to go forward with this, what would be involved, and then just sort of weigh the options based on, the feedback that you got tonight, as well as, whatever you might have heard in the other proceeding that you went through, to try to get it approved on the Silas Deane. It's the kind of thing that you're sort of in a difficult situation because you are in a residential zone, but you're on the Silas Deane Highway. And, ironically, if the whole building had been converted to commercial 30 years ago, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But, because it is still residential, we have additional requirements that, we need to kind of look at to make sure that, we preserve the the residential neighborhood going up the hills. And we've, unfortunately had to confront some of these same issues on quite a number of the streets up and down the highway.
True. That's true. Well, whatever the decision will be, I will be okay, Of course, there is a lot of reason. I mean, like as you said, there will be traffic and all this clutter and, all this interference, but, I was thinking since it was a small operation and delivery that maybe it's possible, but, it's up to you. I mean, I'm not in charge, so.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go back to our annual organizational meeting. First item, nomination and election of a chairman. Who wants to do that?
I nominate Rich Roberts.
I second it.
All right. Are there any other nominations? Come on. All right.
A lot of volunteers.
No, I know. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right. No, I appreciate it, and willing to do it another year, but I do think just kind of for the health of the organization and letting other people, develop their skills, we can revisit this next year. Nomination and election of vice chairman.
I'll nominate Ryan.
Second.
All right. Are there any other nominations?
Is Ryan aware that we're nominating and he's not here?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, he was aware there was a possibility he would be elected chairman, so I think he'll be perfectly happy to.
That's where I was going.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right. Nomination and election of a clerk.
Joe, I'll nominate Joe.
You stay on, Joe?
Sure.
I'll second the nomination.
All right. Are there any other nominations? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Authorization of Denise Bradley to sign notices of the commission.
So moved.
Second.
And I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to congratulate you on your official role as town planner.
Yay.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right. Authorization of Derek Greger to sign notices of the commission.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right. Ex officio members. Nomination of Frederick J. Presley, Town Manager, as an ex officio member.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Appointment to Capital Region Council of Governments. We have nomination and election of a representative and an alternate to the Regional Planning Commission. I'll do that if somebody else will do the EDIC.
Anybody here doing a lunch hour for EDIC? Peter?
George?
George?
I'm on it now.
You're on it now?
And I don't want to do it anymore.
All right. Well, let's take care of the CROG one then first.
I'll nominate Rich Roberts for CROG.
Okay. And who for the alternate? Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Ryan's not here, we.
Yeah, right. I know.
Put Paul on there.
Paul might want to do the EDIC. He's done it in the past. He's been on the commission, so.
Oh,
Paul Thompson?
oh, yeah, he might, yes, because he's been on there. He just moved over here, yeah.
Well, I think that was on purpose, that he didn't want to be there anymore.
Well, yeah, well, when I leave, we'll still have a representative of Clearfield Road to come in here, so.
Okay. All right, we'll finish up on Krog first. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Okay, EDIC. Do you think we should check with him before we?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll table that?
Otherwise, unless
Or continue?
anybody does, if they are interested, they meet on the first Thursday at noon,
Just once a month, right?
once a month.
At noon.
Yes.
Yeah.
I,
and it's pretty
well,
good.
check with him first, and
Okay.
if he has any issues, I'd consider it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we'll table that for the next one.
Sometimes.
Commission rules and procedures to be readopted.
I saw it years ago. It was good.
Yeah, why don't we table that one, because I think I had comments for like 2 years ago that I was gonna send to Peter, and
Okay.
then we decided to have COVID instead, so. All right, next item, minutes of June 7th. The only comment I had was, it looks like a couple of times we need to tweak the voting, like on the top of page 4, where George voted no, so it would pass 7-1. And then I think on the next page, page 5, to close the hearing, Tony abstained then too, so that would be 7-01. But I think all of the substance of it looked okay to me. Did anybody else have any comments?
Motion to approve with corrections?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay, Joe abstains. Next item, staff report, Paul Usello, Whippoorwill Way Estates Maintenance Bond Release.
There was a maintenance bond that was executed in June of 2021. The engineering department and myself went out last week for an inspection. We released the maintenance bond, and the only comments that we had were that 3 arborvitaes on site needed to be replaced. And Paul Usello was notified and is amenable to that.
Okay.
A motion to absolve the, is that the way we say it?
Release the maintenance bond?
Release the maintenance, okay.
All right.
Do we need a motion for that?
Not for a maintenance bond, we don't.
No,
All right, so that was just
Just to
information?
let you guys
just
know.
information?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, thank you for the information. All right, development properties update. This is something new and different and appreciated.
Yeah, it looks good.
Can you make it sideways next time?
Yeah,
Because I don't have a
yeah.
microscope at my house.
I definitely can. This is something that I've been preparing for EDIC for the past few months, and I figured that it would be something that would be beneficial to this commission as well. It highlights the major development projects in town, their current status. If there are additional properties that you want me to add to this, I can do that. If there's questions that you have on any of the status, I can answer those
How often will you update it?
once a month.
Oh, but you don't have to, won't send it to us once.
I will. I'll send
Oh,
it
you
to you
will?
once a month. Yep.
Good idea.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, because I mean, frankly, this is helpful because, you know, it's the kind of thing that, you know, we probably ask ourselves and other people ask us what's going on with X.
And I think it also helps staff to, you know, prioritize, you know, our approach to some of the longstanding enforcement issues and things of that nature.
And also, as a representative from this commission to EDIC this last year, I learned what they're concerned with. And so we have a new person in charge of EDIC and renewal work. So she's doing well, and I think she may be part of this prep work. So it's good to have it. And then we know when any of these properties come before us, it's important. We will be updated.
Is there any progress on the storage facility in Berlin Turnpike? I just happened to drive by the other day, and I saw that hut place, and I didn't see the storage thing. I know it's gone up in the back.
We had a pre-construction meeting on
Okay,
site
so they're
about a
getting
month ago, and they did break ground. So they've got the construction fencing, they have started site
Okay,
work
I
out
just
there.
didn't see anything, just kind of caught my
Yeah.
eye.
Is there anything in particular on here that you want to mention at this point, or is it just general information?
I mean, for the most part, it's just general information. One of the bigger updates on properties is regarding 341 Jordan Lane, which is the former nursing home facility. That property did transfer ownership within the past few weeks. Staff has met with the new owner regarding plans to demolish the existing facility and rezone the property for multifamily.
Okay.
So they've not gotten to the point of engineered drawings, but they do have conceptual
They
plans.
have said they're coming to you.
There is a significant environmental remediation on site, so we'll be working on that.
How's our summer expert on the other subject that he's working on?
Actually, we were debating whether or not to put it on the agenda tonight, but we've done quite a bit of research, and he's compiled a lot of very interesting findings about tax revenues and things of that nature that we're going to prepare for your next meeting. In terms of the only other property update that I want you to be aware of, on Friday, I was in receipt of an application for design review. They are going to be looking at proposals for 1861 Berlin Turnpike. That's the Atlas Tile Plaza. They have plans to demolish the existing plaza and come before us for special permit for a Starbucks drive-through.
1861.
Atlas Tile, opposite Cumberland Farms.
Or Pollo
I
Guapo.
was wondering where it's going. I've been telling you that.
They're gonna move or stay in still?
We're hopeful that Pollo Guapo could find a temporary or alternate permanent location in town. The owner does have available tenant space in town that it is possible to fit up. So I anticipate design review, probably making a determination on the 13th of July, and then seeing a special permit end of August, beginning of September.
Yeah, I mean, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but it would just be a Starbucks, or it would be a new plaza reconfigured with a Starbucks in it?
They will have additional tenant space. Okay. They're not sure if it will be broken up into one or two additional tenants.
Okay.
And the Starbucks would be located where the Atlas Tile is now, so the
Okay.
queue of the drive-through would actually be around the front and then behind the building.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a good place for a Dunkin' Donuts, because you can't really see the one down from there, so.
What happened to the Starbucks that was going in on the lower end of the Silas, Deane, perhaps in the 91? Did you say something down there? No? I thought there was going to be one there too, but way back, you said, a few months ago.
I think they might have talked about putting one of those in like the gas stations in Rocky Hill over the line.
Okay.
We have had conversations with a developer for another Starbucks location that would be off of the Silas Deane.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't find a guy with a cheap hotel wanting to go in there?
And Chips is permanently closed now?
It is.
Is anybody showing any interest in that, or?
I have not gotten any inquiries about it. I guess our economic development director did field an inquiry about a distillery, but I was going to reach out to the property owner, Joe Morosi, to see if he's gotten any inquiries or what the status is on these ones.
Okay. Yeah, because I know, over the years, people have kind of come and gone with different ideas for a pad site there. And, there's already one with utilities that, they could, if they wanted to take the building down, it would save them some effort.
I wish there were a way of getting some restaurants on the Silas Deane, some good ones. It's too bad we lost that one.
Yeah.
Wish there were a way to encourage it, but there isn't.
All right. Anything else?
Other than that, I have nothing to report.
Okay. So we are having our next meeting?
We do have a few smaller applications pending.
Okay.
When is the next meeting?
The
When is it?
19th?
The 19th.
Of July.
Yeah. All right. Anybody have anything else? Not, motion to adjourn?
So made.
All right. Motion by George, second by Peter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks.